Hi, Niels from about Black Dragon Forge here with another knife making tip for you. This one specifically pertains to this little jig here, which I got from Wayne Goddard's $50 knife shop. Now if there's one thing I have to say about reading, it is and learning, it is study as much as you can regarding a specific technique. $50 knife shop I found to be one of the best references I've ever had. I use it on a weekly basis just to recap and make sure that the process I'm following is still the process as Wayne described it. Okay, now this, in his book he calls it, I believe it is called a stop plate. Okay, so if you are quenching, okay, your oil covers this of course, and you take your blade, in comes the blade, and you quench. Clink, and that actually stops. It's a dip gauge. So your oil will only come up to an edge or a section up your edge, and therefore only hardening the edge and therefore differential heat treats. Okay, so what this is a plate expanded mesh that I put 4 bolts on the corners, and I added these 2 little stops there, and just to show you what this does, it actually keeps my blade and it sits there. Okay, so when I do my quench, the blade sits still in the well, and if you're shaking like me, you don't end up doing this, and your blade goes all over the place. And every time you move your blade in the oil, okay, so if you're quenching, you move your blade to the right, okay, the oil builds up on this side of the blade, creates a bit of a vacuum on that side of the blade. Well, vacuum might not be the right word, but you get what I'm saying, is the oil builds up on this side of the blade, the oil drops on that side of the blade if I move the blade this way, and my blade will now curve that way. Okay, same thing if you do the other way around, your blade will curve that way. The problem is that it doesn't just curve that way, it will also curve like this. Okay, and if you don't want a crinkle cut blade, then keep it as still as possible when you do your quench. Another thing is where this thing comes really handy in is when you're doing multiple quenches. Triple quench, in other words, you quench your blade the first time, sit it down, let it stay there until it's cooled, then you take it up, reheat it again, do the same thing, quench it again. Now you're getting exactly the same line. Okay, so your quench step is exactly the same, and then when you do it for a third or a fourth time, your quench line is exactly the same. Ta-da! Okay, so let me show you. I'm not gonna start up the forge. Let me show you once again. My quench tank lid is out of the way. This one goes into the well now. Obviously I've preset this for the video. Okay, so when I now come in and I quench my blade, okay, or I put it in, okay, let me just move this up a bit. I put it in, and if I now, you can see the tip is not covered, so what I do is I just rock the blade into the tip and then back down, and if I pull it out, the track of the oil will give you where your quench line will be. So let me just reflect that. You see that? Done! Okay, so there I'm quenching just over a quarter of my blade's length, or the width of the blade, just over a quarter. I like that. The edge is what does the work, not the spine. Okay, so a selectively hardened blade, very quickly. Ka-tink. Now if I want my oil a bit higher up, okay, I'm just going to zoom out for this, just give me 2 seconds. So there we go, come on. Okay, so if I want more oil, in other words my quench depth deeper, in comes this little baby. In the bottom of my, or below my quench tank, I've got a bucket full of oil, still my same quench oil, and then all I do is I pour more oil in, as opposed to adjusting the height of the depth gauge. Okay, so let's get up to about halfway there. And obviously I'll preset the blade depth before I actually go and heat up the blade and quench it, because you can do it by your hand. You see there? Okay, so now my depth is a bit higher up on my blade, and if I rock it, there we go, that's my quench I'll get. Okay, so that's it, depth gauge. Using it, make sure that your blade stays still when you quench, easy as pie. Alright. Have fun, enjoy, remember to share. If you like what you see in these videos, remember to subscribe to my channel. Okay, cheers.